It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in today a little bit more in depth in terms of really understanding some of the emotional manipulative tactics, techniques, or things that narcissists or a psychopath will utilize to subjugate the individuals in their environment to a lower status, a lower rung, a lower degree of respect around them, keeping you underneath, keeping you less than, keeping you feeling less equipped, less talented, less intelligent, less important, less valuable as a partner in the relationship. And it is well known that one of the typifying distinguishing factors of a narcissist is their personality to come off as superior or better than. And with a lack of empathy, this creates a very textbook dynamic of where they allude to be entitled, superior, better than, the center of attention, it's their way or the highway. And everyone else is just kind of in the rafters, in the shadows, in a lower place within the relationship. And some people might like this feeling, but to a large degree, a lot of people do not like to feel less than. They don't like to feel meeker. They don't like to have low self-esteem. They don't like to be silenced. They don't like the feeling of not being in control. They don't like the feeling of not being heard or listened to. Some people, they might just want to be in a very dependent or passive relationship. But once again, to a large degree, most people will find a discomfort or unhappiness. And one of the ways, an emotional tactic of manipulating others is to show lack of approval. Lack of approval. Lack of validation. You can't. You won't. No, you won't. So the you can'ts and the sneers, the looks where they're trying to show disapproval and like as if they are the one who is in control of the final decision of how you live your life, how you take care of your body, how you take care of your emotional health is up to them. And so oftentimes people have had to sacrifice what their true interests are, their true purpose, cry out for their true needs because of a lack of approval from this quote unquote more important person in their life. So this person has obtained this position in your life only with your permission. So in other words, the words of the great Eleanor Roosevelt, you will only be as unhappy as you allow others to make you. Abraham Lincoln, you are about as happy as you make up your mind to be or choose to be. So it is to understand that your happiness is a choice and you must choose happiness to be happy. It's a conscious choice. And so when we talk about approval, we're talking about, someone going, yeah, that's great. You can do this. You've got my support. Yes, they're giving you that positive juice. They're giving you that positive smile. They're giving you that validation. You can do it. Go ahead. That looks good on you. You can go for that job. You can go for that class. You can watch this. You can eat that. You can be happy. So there's an approval needed. And so oftentimes there is the harsh judgment, lack of approval, which if you're trying to, climb the rung of life, climb the rung of personal development, your own power, your own place in the world, oftentimes this will be met with lack of approval from the narcissist. Anything you will very much notice that when you are trying to either shimmy up in the relationship, i.e. call some of the shots, letting know that these are your interests, or this is you, you're on self-improvement and they will not acknowledge it. This can be from as little as a haircut, which might look fabulous on you, and they don't say, oh my gosh, you look great, or that's a great haircut. They will withdraw approval. They will not, even just the withholding of approval, withholding of compliments, can be very much an emotional manipulative, because there is something known in psychology which is called extinguishing. If you don't reward a behavior, like if you were to have a parent-child relationship and, that child, let's say, goes to the bathroom for himself, the parent might applaud, yay, maybe give you a little award, high five, the child, yay, you did it for yourself. That is called, rewarding. That is approval. Yay, and the child goes, yay, let me do it again. Watch, mom, and then little by little, that child is making that stage. They're meeting that developmental stage successfully. So that is the importance of approval. Extinguishing would be the parent not validating the child, not acknowledging, not giving that child a high five, not smiling at the child, not giving the child eye contact, not giving the child a hug. So in other words, we call that extinguishing a behavior. So it is very important to understand how this then, lack of approval, is a very subtle, covert form of emotional manipulation or control tactics over others who are in close relationships to keep their light extinguished, their behaviors, their track moving forward extinguished. So you'll find that you always, there's the chaos when you do, you get a haircut. They don't, I can tell. So it's these very indifferent, or like, how could you do that to your hair? Or how could you wear that? Or how could you paint that? Or how could you build that? That is a waste of money. That's a waste of your house. You'll find that there's a lack of approval met with traction, positive, orderly direction thinking and behaving that you have going forward. In other words, they're trying to thwart your independence. They're thwarting your God-given inalienable right to pursuing a life of life, liberty, and happiness. When you really look at that, you can really understand then how hazardous, how dangerous, how very non-productive and very unself-promoting it is for you to be around others who are trying to sabotage you through lack of validation, through lack of approval. And to understand that the approval, you must have to move forward. Any of the great leaders who have really made history have been met with lack of approval. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Obama. I mean, these are just to name a few. Their approval rating was met with resistance. You can't rise up. You don't have the right. You don't have the privilege. You don't have the audacity. So it's like really at the core of human inalienable rights. I think you can resonate with movements that we have seen through the passionate leaders of history who have had to face against all odds. You don't have the right. We don't approve. We don't think so. No, you don't, Buster. Sit back down. No, you don't, girl. You go back. So it's to be able to rise up against that resistance. Yes, I do. I approve of myself and I back myself. It's a very difficult situation to say I deserve respect when you have not stated that has not rolled off of your tongue before. You have not behaved accordingly as such, as if you deserve respect. You become underemployed. You become underengaged in relationships. You become non-participatory in life. You don't know, you can't go to the concerts because you have not looked at what music interests you or excites you. You've not pursued interest because, you don't know that you have the ability to flourish and grow and then fund your interests. People, who are underemployed, who are living under their potential. This can even be as nations, not living to their full potential. So as I discussed, there's like a macrocosm and then a microcosm of this. So you can see it within your own life. You can see it in cultures, in the whole scheme of things, the big picture. So I really feel it's very important. A very huge element in healing is saying, I unite with my brothers and sisters. So realizing that if this individual was disapproving you, and through the looks, through the comments, through the lack of compliments, through the lack of eye contact, where you feel dehumanized, depersonalized, do not minimize this as as abuse. This happened, you have to own it. You have to say, OMG, this happened, and OMG, I am moving forward. And I am claiming respect for myself, and by that, I'm going to obtain respect from others. I'm not going to demand it, but I'm going to demand of myself to take care of myself. I demand of myself. What is a must, what is a should, I should take care of myself, now becomes I must. I must take care of myself. I must become independent. I must provide for myself financially. I must have love in my relationship. I must have approval for myself to follow my interests. And I must have empathy in my relationships so people do not sabotage me and hold me down and show me this lack of approval, because that's really where people get thwarted. And just think of all of the people who have had to rise up despite approval. Think of all the people who heard negative rap and still plugged on because they knew it was right in the bottom of their heart. So if you can look at the bottom of your own heart and say, what do I know that I really need to do and grow for myself? And what areas, if I could just in the privacy of this video, confide that to myself, you must develop that confidence and confiding within yourself relationship so you can go out and make those tracks into the world, into your life, and exercise those, I call it emotional sea legs, which have been met, you felt, so hit at the kneecap, so met with disapproval that you can't make a decision one way or the other. You're not practiced in decision making. You're not practiced in choices. You're not practiced in smiling. You're not practiced in happiness. This seemed foreign. I can't trust anybody. It's oftentimes because you've been met with so much betrayal and then lack of approval and validation and smiles and hugs, and you can do this, that approval. It just creates a deficit within a person. So look at those areas where you have been met with disapproval, where you were moving forward, you were pursuing your dreams, pursuing your interests. It could be recent, it could have been way in your past, where you were met with scolding, you cannot, you will nevers, the sort of, keeping you quiet, keeping you hushed up, making you feel that, you must be dependent on this individual and that they call the shots, they have the decision making, they are superior. Look at those and then sever those traumatic bonds and say, I don't think so, no way, I'm on the highway. And then get some space for yourself. Begin to see that you have a boundary and a standard, instead of, as we say, the colloquial BS. Have a boundary and a standard, which means you're protecting yourself, you have the right, and then the standards, which are realistic, you have the desire to expect others to cooperate. And if there's a disconnect, then you need to do something. It is to become intolerable for you to be around that. It can create really a real hampering of your ability. And it's a very, very scary place for people to become dependent where they don't want to be dependent, where they can't provide for themselves. They can't think for themselves. They can't feel for themselves. They can't have interest for themselves. It's a very scary place where people feel lost. They begin to feel disabled. Dis meaning not ability. And so if you've found that, go, whoa, it's time to become decisive, knowledgeable, self-approved. So give yourself the approval. Just be like, man, I did a great job by making a decision. Man, I did a great job that I can make decisions for myself and I have good judgment. And I validate myself, and all those times I was met with lack of approval, that is just emotional manipulation to keep me down. No way, Jose. I don't think so. Take your disapproval and send it the other way because it has no place here. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Thank you so much for your viewership, your support, and sharing all your specifics.